I think we should wait here till morning. Wandering through the forest at night isn't the best idea. Right here is definitely the safest place. Monsters hate daylight after all, so we'll sleep in shifts. There's 7 of us, so 1 hour each. That sounds right. The room seemed to agree with Cornet's plan. Everyone except Pipsqueak, Schootaloo, and Saphira. Something was bothering him, and it wasn't the noise in the back of his head. Noise. Why did that worry him so much? This place isn't safe, Saphira protested. I think we should leave. Where will we go? Noi asked. Zeccora's hut. I know where it is from here. We can make it to Zeccora, and she will definitely protect us. Schootaloo responded. Miss Zeccora can't use magic. How could she protect us? Cornet interjected harshly. Miss Zeccora has lived here for years. I bet she has all kinds of potions to ward off monsters. It was Pipsqueak who spoke up this time. I say we put it to a vote. Damatiara spoke up all of a sudden. It was unusual for her. Usually she'd be the one to take charge and tell ponies what they were doing. Maybe she took Pipsqueak's advice to heart. Maybe she'd be a nicer pony now. All in favor of staying here? Everyone except Pipsqueak, Saphira, and Schootaloo's hooves shot up in the air. Immediately. And for Zeccora's hut? The 3 remaining ponies raised their hooves in vain. Guess we're staying here then. So, who wants first watch? What about you, Pipsqueak? And so that's how Pipsqueak took first watch. Pipsqueak sighed. From all the events today, he, of all ponies, could use the rest. Or maybe sleep wasn't such a good idea. What if he had nightmares? Don't think about it. Hey, Pip. It was Schootaloo's voice. She hadn't gone to bed with the rest, and that's strange. Can I talk to you for a second? Sure. Pipsqueak took the note of the way Schootaloo looked back at the others. It reminded him of when Featherweight would look around to make sure no one was within earshot before he would tell Pipsqueak something interesting he had heard, or show or tell a snapshot he took of some pony. Listen, some crazy things are happening right now. She was shaking. I want to see Applebloom and Sweetie Belle again, Pipsqueak. I never got to tell them how important they are to me. She closed in on Pipsqueak all of a sudden. Her muzzle just inches from his. Pipsqueak, you're the only one I can really trust here. So, do you trust me? Something about this conversation made Pipsqueak feel uneasy. Of course. Hesitation. Bad move. I mean, yes. I trust you, Scoots. We're friends. Good. Because something about this whole thing feels wrong to me. I think someone here is working for the monster. Working for it? Yeah. It kind of feels like we're playing an unbeatable game, doesn't it? Now that she mentioned it, if this was the Pied Piper that was attacking them, it was quite possible that someone here is a minion, or the Piper itself. If only there was a way to test that theory. He should have paid more attention to his dad's research. Of course, he wasn't going to worry Scoots with that. Don't worry, Scoots. We'll make it out of here. You're a liar. She sighed. Yeah, but I'd be wary of certain ponies. If someone were a spy, they'd most likely be very smart. Someone as smart as her. They'd be doing things that we wouldn't be able to. There's only one unicorn here. They'd have to have encountered the monster before. The thing that took your friends. It followed you, didn't it? And finally, they'd have to have some method of communication with it discreetly. He remembered all those times the ponies in question's ears had perked up, and she looked at something that only she could see. How many times had she used her unicorn magic? Pipsqueak knew who fit the bill perfectly. But could it be? It was possible. How was Pipsqueak supposed to know she wasn't communicating with the Pied Piper? He was an earth pony. To him, unicorn magic was, as his father would put it, a convenient plot device. He eyed Saphira's sleeping body suspiciously. Could it have been possible? Could she have been betraying them all along? Yeah, I think so too. We can't let her know what we know, though. I'll keep an eye on her. If she tries anything, I'll kick her flank. Schootaloo made a striking motion in the air with her forelegs, and smiled slightly, confident in her abilities, apparently. It was nice to see Schootaloo smile, at least. Well, good night, Pip. Try not to sleep on your watch, okay? She playfully nuzzled his cheek. Pip felt a chill run down his spine. That was weird. Well, the kiss from before was weird too, but really? What was with Schootaloo all of a sudden? He remembered his uncle talking about how fillies mature faster than colts, so maybe this was that? Or maybe it was just some crazy situation they were in. Yeah, that was probably it. It was going to be a long night. He jumped at the sound of a hooting howl from outside. An hour passed, and it was nearly time for Pipsqueak to wake up whoever was next in the rotation. The mansion creaked every so often, and over the half-past hour, he tried his best not to stare down the dark void of the hallways. Even now he averted his gaze, instead fixating on the comic book he'd been reading for the past hour or so. Every time he peeked down the hallway, he thought he would see a terrifying monster running at them, ready to turn him into a pony snack. Be brave, Pipsqueak. You're a hero. No, you're not. You're a coward. Pipsqueak sighed. The voices in his head were getting much more prominent. Don't think about it, Pipsqueak. You can't hide forever. Surrender. Put them all out of their misery. Kill. 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 He ignored the voice, even though it kept chanting kill in his head. His temporary insanity was broken up at the sound of rustling sheets. Huh? He turned his lantern back towards the sleeping ponies. Saphira? Check. Schootaloo? Check. Noi? Check. Damatiara? Check. Silver Spoon? Check. Cornet? When he shined the light on her sleeping bag, all he saw was a ponyless sleeping bag. Where had she gone? She wasn't supposed to leave without permission. She didn't even take one of the lanterns. Creak. He wheeled around towards the creaking floorboard, the floor lantern illuminating Cornet's figure, facing the hallway. Cornet? He called to her, but got no response. How the hay did she get past him anyways? She ran off down the hall. Hey! He chased after her, hearing the rhythmic sounds like the thunder being a beating war drum. A sense of dread filled him. His father would call this the climax. He tried not to think about it. This wasn't his father's stories. He chased her throughout the house, finding his way into a room filled with various worn-out musical instruments. The windows had been boarded up. The floor creaked dangerously, as if they were going to break. The room looked like a tornado had come through. And there was Cornet, standing in the middle of the room, not facing Pipsqueak. What are you doing up? It's not your shift yet. He stopped. There was something very wrong with Cornet. Why? Because she had just twisted her head in a way that wasn't natural for ponies. At first, he didn't know what he was seeing. Cornet? Surely, his eyes must have been playing tricks on him. Must be tired. Cornet? What are... Suddenly, she lunged at Pipsqueak, pinning him to the ground. He felt Cornet push the weight of her hooves down on his throat, trying to cut off his air supply. He pushed against her, trying to call for help, but he couldn't make a sound. He made a mistake. Cornet had led him here, where he was isolated, so no pony could hear his struggles. You! Pied Piper! It let up for just a second, smiled a big toothy grin, and then continued to press down on his throat. Why? She was attacked by the monster too, so why? Daylight hit his brain as he remembered the conversation from earlier. It can mimic the shape of a pony it's taken. It can even control what's left of their body to fool other ponies. She wasn't hurt by the monster back then. She was the monster who took Lemon Days, or at least her corpse was being controlled by the Pied Piper, who then took Lemon Days. Cornet was an Archer's group. Archer was dead, and Firelocks had never returned. So where was Cornet during all that? Did she stop Saphira from questioning Lemon Days because she may have seen something? Why didn't he see it sooner? His struggles started to become weaker. He could feel the strength being sapped from him. Why couldn't he have been a smarter pony? He could have put the pieces together sooner. Featherweight definitely would have figured it out before things got to this stage. Was this it? Was this where he would die? He was getting lightheaded now. The room was spinning. His strength fading. His vision going blurry. Crash! Suddenly, he could breathe again. He took several seconds to let the air into his lungs. He dry heaved and saw Cornet wrapped in the blue glow of Saphira's magic, and then viciously slammed to the ground, where she fell through the floor down into the main lobby, where everyone had been resting. Everyone had been woken up from the sound of the crash. One of the lanterns lay broken by Pipsqueak's side. Saphira lowered the two ponies down through the hole. Cornet tried to get up and run, but was wrapped in a telekinetic field by Saphira. "What's going on?" Noi demanded, sounding cranky from being woken up and confused at the sight she was beholding. Cornet. That's not Cornet." Pipsqueak choked out through rapid breaths. She tried to kill me." "He's lying," Cornet protested. "I woke up to go to the bathroom. All of a sudden, Pipsqueak just attacked me out of nowhere. I had to fight him off, and then Saphira put me in this bubble." "No, you're lying," Pipsqueak retorted fiercely. "Quiet, Pipsqueak," Noi spat out. "Saphira, let Cornet down. Tie Pipsqueak up before he kills us like he killed Archer and Lemon." Surely she must see the hole in the ceiling. Cornet's story doesn't add up, and yet Pipsqueak was being labeled as the aggressor? "Please, no, you have to believe..." He stopped. What did Noi just say? Saphira seemed to pick up on it too. "What are you waiting for?" Noi demanded, the desperation in her voice evident. "Noi, how did you know about Archer and Lemon?" Saphira asked. "What are you talking about? You told me, when we got here. You said you found Archer's body tangled up in the tree roots by a cliff." Pipsqueak and Saphira exchanged glances, as if they just realized some great truth. "What? That's what you said." "Noi, we never mentioned Archer was dead, and we never said anything about how she died." The room grew dead silent at the sudden reveal. "Furthermore, we never told you about Lemon Days, either." Yes, you did. You told us when we got back." "But that's not the first time you said it," Saphira responded sharply. "Do you remember what you said when you first met us after Lemon and Cornet was attacked? You said, 'It got Lemon, just like it got Archer.' How would you know that it got Lemon if you were on the other side of the building?" Dead silence filled the room. Noi just stood there, dumbfounded, and not saying anything. For a while, it looked like she was trying to figure out some way to talk her way out of this. But what really sealed the deal was this last sentence. "Noi, show us your cutie mark." "What? I'm a blank flank." "No, you're not," Schootaloo spoke up. "You've had a cutie mark since last year. It's a pillow. You said it symbolized your desire to make everyone comfortable." The whole room surrounded Noi. "Take off the Wonderbolt costume." "What? No, I'm not going to do that." Her green eyes darted around the room suspiciously. She looked just like a cornered animal. It was very clear she was still trying to figure a way out of this. Wait a minute. Green? Before Pipsqueak could say anything, it was Schootaloo who brought the finishing blow. Noi doesn't have green eyes. For a while, nobody moved or said anything. Noi's gaze turned to her hooves. Her shoulders shook. Was she crying? No, that wasn't crying. That sound was definitely not crying. That was laughter. A broken, high-pitched laughter. Cornet soon followed her example as the coats of the two ponies began to turn pale and their eyes sunk into their bony heads, become dead and lifeless, replaced by two blank voids. They stared at the others with big, twisted, toothy grins stretching further than their mouths should have been able to go. "It's the Pied Piper!" Pipsqueak exclaimed. "Everyone run! To Zakora's!" Suddenly, all Pipsqueak heard was laughter coming from everywhere around him. From Cornet, from Noi, Silver Spoon, Diamond Tiara. He looked down the hall to see the dark figures of the lost ponies. He even saw Twist and Dinky poking their heads out from the hole in the ceiling. It was all coming full circle now. Pipsqueak, Saphira, and Schootaloo backed up towards the doorway. Saphira was shaking in her hooves, dead silent, eyes locked on the green light from down the hall, and Schootaloo just kept trying to pull the door open, in vain. The orange Pegasus didn't have the strength of an earth pony. She needed help moving the door. Give up, Pipsqueak. Their situation was hopeless. If it was just Cornet and Noi, Saphira could probably handle one of them, and the rest could overpower the other. But when he factored the other 15 ponies, there was no way even Saphira's telekinetic skills could save them. Give up, Pipsqueak. He sat on his haunches, shutting his eyes, and waited for the end. No, he told himself. No, he said a bit louder. No! He didn't want to die here. He didn't want to give up and become one of them. He needed to survive. He needed to go back home and tell everyone what happened here. If he died here, then everything would have been pointless. A lot more Foals would die if word about the Pied Piper never got out. Just part of an old story that everyone will forget. No, he could not let it end with just him. He was not going to die. Plan. He needed a plan. There must be something he could use to... Saphira, teleport us, he whispered. What? You said you managed to teleport yourself and a teacher out of a room. Can you teleport us past this big iron door? He needed a quick answer because Pipsqueak did not like the way the other ponies were advancing on them. That was a mistake, though. I haven't teleported anything in ages. A road blocking the path ahead. Come on, Pipsqueak. There's got to be something. Remember when you got really angry a while ago? Do that again. Just turn your fear into anger, like you said before. If there was ever a time for Saphira to use what she learned back home, now was the perfect time. If she could just manage to build up that same level of anger, then maybe they could get away. I need a minute or two to concentrate. No problem. Pipsqueak was about to do something that he would later consider to be the stupidest thing he's ever done. For glory! He shouted as he dived headfirst towards the pony thralls that used to be his friends. Now was a great time for him to show off the earth pony's strength that should have been coursing through his veins. Give up. Shut up! He barreled right into his former classmates, avoiding their diving bodies. Duck and weave, Pip. For the first time in his life, he was thankful for being so short. His small frame made him nimble, while his classmates seemed to have trouble locating him. Maybe this was what they called adrenaline. Pipsqueak! Schootaloo called out to him. Just a second away, he felt something crash into his side. Pipsqueak! That hurt a lot more than he thought it would. He saw the ponies running towards him. He wanted to close his eyes and give up. No. He hopped out of the way, just as Noi and Featherweight crashed into where he had just been laying. Cornet bit at his tail, and he kicked her with his hoof. Panic was starting to set in as he scrambled to Schootaloo and Saphira. Some of the thralls had switched tactics, and started to go after the two of them instead. Pipsqueak needed to get there first. He raced against the thrall classmates, running as fast as little legs would take him. Teleport now! He shouted as he dived. Then, he heard a pop sound.